Okay, so you want to own a real estate business. Not sell houses on the side. Not get licensed and hope for the best. Own the business, the brokerage, the brand, the machine that other people's commissions run through. Here's what nobody tells you before you write that first check. The person holding the for sale sign and the person who actually gets rich in real estate are, more often than not, two different people. One of them is grinding 14-hour days, chasing a commission that might not show up for 90 days. The other one gets paid whether that commission shows up or not. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which side of that line of money is actually on, and why an industry built on a $3.5 trillion pile of housing transactions somehow manages to make almost nobody in it rich, while making a handful of people extraordinarily rich. If you've ever looked at a real estate office and assumed everyone in it is doing fine, you're about to find out how wrong that assumption is. Here's the part that breaks people's brains. Everyone assumes real estate commissions are simple. 6% split down the middle, done. That's not how it works, and understanding why is the first thing you need to know before you put a dollar into this business. In March 2024, the National Association of Realtors agreed to pay $418 million to settle a lawsuit that accused it of artificially propping up commission rates for decades. The new rules took effect that August. Buyers' agents could no longer advertise their fee inside the listing database. Buyers had to sign an agreement spelling out exactly what their agent would be paid before that agent showed them a single house. The headlines all said the same thing. Commissions are about to fall, maybe by a lot. Here's what actually happened. Nothing. By early 2026, the average total commission on a home sale had climbed to roughly 5.7%, higher than it was before the settlement. On a median-priced home, that's close to $20,000, split between two agents on a single transaction. The lawsuit changed the paperwork. It didn't change the price. The reason is simple. It's the reason you need to understand before anything else in this video makes sense. Commission rates were never really set by a rule book. They were set by home prices, and home prices didn't go anywhere but up. The rule book changed. The money didn't. So if there's $20,000 sitting on every transaction, the obvious move is to become an agent and go get some of it. This is where almost everyone who enters this business gets the math catastrophically wrong. Getting licensed costs a few $100s and a few weeks of your time. That's the easy part, and it's exactly why the industry lets you believe the hard part is behind you. It isn't. The National Association of Realtors' own 2025 data shows agents with 2 years of experience or less earned a median gross income of $8,100. Not per month for the year. 62% of new agents made less than $10,000 in their first 12 months. The reason isn't laziness. It's timing. A lead you generate in January doesn't become a closed commission until June, maybe later, and there is no salary in between to keep you afloat. NAR's own membership numbers tell the rest of the story without needing an opinion attached to it. The organization peaked at 1.6 million members in October 2022. By 2026, membership had fallen toward 1.2 million, and the agents leaving are disproportionately the new ones. The median age of a realtor climbed to 57. The share of agents under 40 fell to just 11%. Anyway, this is the part almost nobody's selling you the dream mentions. Getting a real estate license doesn't hand you a business. It hands you an unpaid trial period with no fixed end date, and most people don't survive it. Here's the question that actually matters, and it's the one that separates people who understand this industry from people who just work in it. When an agent closes that $20,000 commission, how much of it does the agent actually keep? The answer depends entirely on who they hang their license with, and the differences are enormous. First, take Keller Williams, a 70-30 split, where the agent keeps 70%, the local office takes 30%, and on top of that, a 6% franchise fee gets skimmed off the top and sent to the national brand, capped around $3,000 a year. Second, take RE/MAX. An agent can pay a flat monthly desk fee of anywhere from $500 to $3,000 and keep as much as 95% of every commission, with no cap at all. Third, take eXp Realty, an 80-20 split with a $16,000 annual cap, after which the agent keeps everything. Every one of these models is selling the same core product: access to a brand, a network, and a transaction pipeline. What they charge for it is wildly different, and almost no new agent understands the difference before they sign. So, before we get into where the real money in this industry actually lives, because it's not where you think, if you're finding this useful, subscribe. This channel breaks down exactly how businesses like this one actually make money, underneath the version everyone assumes is true. There's more of this coming. Anyway, notice what every single one of those splits has in common. The brokerage gets paid whether the agent's deal ever closes or not, through desk fees, franchise fees, monthly technology charges, and the brokerage gets paid again when it does close, through the split. The agent is the one carrying all the risk. The commission might not show up for 3 months. It might not show up at all. The brokerage's fees show up on the first of every month regardless. This is the part that breaks people's brains once they actually see it. The agent's business depends entirely on the transaction closing. The brokerage's business depends on the agent showing up, whether the transaction closes or not. Now here's where it gets interesting, because the biggest brokerage in the country has been proving, in public on a quarterly earnings call, exactly how brutal this math is even when you're winning. Compass, the largest residential brokerage in the United States, lost more than $1.5 billion just running itself over 4 years. Not because the business was failing. Compass was growing the entire time, recruiting agents faster than almost anyone in the industry. It lost that money because the model for winning this business isn't make more per transaction. It's own more of the transactions at almost any cost. In 2025, Compass closed a deal worth close to $4 billion to acquire Anywhere Real Estate, the parent company of Coldwell Banker, Century 21, Sotheby's International Realty, and Corcoran. Overnight, that single acquisition put roughly 340,000 agents under one roof. And here's the number that puts the whole thing in perspective. Compass generated just under $7 billion in revenue in 2025. It still posted a net loss for the year. This is a company doing $7 billion a year in business, and it is still, by the accounting that matters, not profitable. Real estate looks like a business about houses. At this scale, it's a business about market share. And market share, it turns out, is a lot more expensive to buy than anyone selling the dream lets on. So if the agent is underpaid, and even the biggest brokerage in the country is bleeding money to grow, where does anyone actually make money owning this business? The answer is the same place it's always been. The franchise, not the flag on the sign. Keller Williams doesn't need any single agent to succeed. It needs a large enough number of agents paying that 6% franchise fee every single month across thousands of offices for the model to work. Gary Keller didn't build his fortune by being the best agent in Austin. He built it by building the machine that takes a cut of every agent who ever tries. RE/MAX runs the same play with its desk fee model. It doesn't need you to close deals. It needs you to keep paying rent on your license whether you do or not. This is why the ownership economics of a brokerage look almost nothing like the economics of being an agent inside one. First, the brokerage's revenue is diversified across hundreds of individual producers, so no single agent's bad year sinks it. Second, a meaningful share of that revenue, franchise fees, desk fees, technology fees, arrives whether a transaction closes or not. Third, the brokerage owns the brand, the training pipeline, and the recruiting funnel, which means it profits from the next wave of agents walking in the door with the same optimism the last wave had, before the same math caught up with them. The agent is betting on one transaction at a time. The person who owns the brokerage is betting on the fact that thousands of people will keep making that same bet, and that on average, across all of them, the house wins. Here's the last piece, and it's the one that makes this business genuinely risky even for the people at the top of it, not just the agents at the bottom. None of this math works the same way in every market. Housing transactions rise and fall with interest rates, with consumer confidence, with how many homes are actually for sale in a given year, and none of that is something a brokerage owner controls. When transaction volume drops, the fixed costs don't. The office lease is still due. The technology platform still needs paying for. Compass posted a $132 million net loss in a single quarter in 2024 during a stretch when the housing market simply slowed down. Not collapsed, just slowed. NAR's own membership numbers show the same story from a different angle. 110,000 agents left the profession between the 2022 peak and late 2025, most of them the newest, most vulnerable ones, pushed out the moment the market gave them less to work with. The romance of real estate is that it's the one business everyone understands, because everyone has bought or sold a house. The economics of real estate are that almost nobody in it, agent or owner, controls the one variable that decides whether they get paid. You now know the actual shape of this business. The agent takes the risk, the franchise takes the fee, and the fortune sits with whoever owns the machine, not whoever's standing in front of it holding a sign. But there's a version of this same structure running in an industry that looks nothing like real estate on the surface. No listings, no open houses, no agents at all, and yet it's built on the exact same bet. Pay a huge amount up front for an asset, and pray the volume shows up to cover it. Next time, we're getting into the economics of owning a trucking fleet. And the number that decides whether a fleet owner gets rich or goes bankrupt in 18 months isn't the price of a truck. It's a number almost nobody outside the industry has ever heard of.